Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another diecast review. This one's a bit of a special one. We're not reviewing one, not two, but five cars. Five cars today, folks, and they are from the new Hot Wheels Silver Series set, aka the ACCELERACERS set. We are gonna kick things off with car number 1 out of 5, which is Iridium from the Team Silencers. Here, I just love the box art of all these five. Let's crack her open. Also, before I get further to the review, I do not have the original 2005 diecast, so I'm gonna use images for some of them. So bear with me. Oh, they put the team logo underneath behind the car. Nice. Get her open. Fuck. And turn on that wheel. Here's Iridium from the Team Silencers. Now let's get to it. You see here, the car is a mixture of gray and purple, just like in the movies. Got purple CM6 wheels right here, looking very nice. Nice little decal on the sides. And we got a split line, which is actually attached to the body. Back then, in 2005, this line wasn't there. It was actually the window connected. The car has been retooled, so the casting does look different. And Mattel trying to make the cars look more movie accurate compared to the 2005 cars, which is very, very cool. For example, the detailed headlights on the Iridium compared to the 2005 diecast, it's not on. The detailed taillights are not there, and the purple decals right here was actually gray instead of purple, and the purple was a bit of a more darker tone. To be honest, I do love the darker purple on the original Iridium diecast than this one, but still very, very cool. All right, our next car that's in this set was not an original Acceleracer. Well, technically in the movie it is, but it never got released as a diecast back in 2005. 20 years later, that finally happened. It is Kurt Wild's Slingshot. There's the box art. There's Kurt. There's his car. If you don't know what the wheel is, that's the wheel of power from the Acceledome. Pop this open. Once you notice the back of the card, it's the Team Teku design, because Kurt Wild in the movies was a member of Teku. Zoom in on a little bit. Okay. This specific car, the Slingshot, has some history within the movies. That being both ACCELERACERS and World Race, which was a prequel back in 2003, also driven by Kurt Wild. Let's get to the diecast. Got a beautiful white, orange, and blue Teku design. There's a logo right here. I really like how split it is. Really, really movie accurate, this car. Got the black CM6 wheels. Detailed taillights on the back. No headlight details up front, because in the movies, the car will actually have pop-up headlights. It'll pop-up headlights, and they look pretty okay, but I prefer it closed down. But anyways, back to the movie history. Kurt was in World Race, and he was the leader of Team Street Breeds before I think it's Street Breed. I think it's Street Breeds, I believe. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it was Street. Street Breeds, and then later And then also in the besides Street Beats, it was Zeb 36, which was a black slingshot with red windows. But in the World Race, it was green windows and a purple paint job. And then and then ACCELERACERS, this car got featured a little bit in the first movie until Kurt crashed in the Storm Realm, and that led to his replacement of Battle Spec. Our third car from the set is one of my personal favorites. We got Hollowback, driven by Torque Maddox, aka the Metal Maniacs leader. Let's open it up. Oh, there it goes. There's the Metal Maniac logo on the back of the package. Okay. Now let's put it on here. Zoom in. This car, it has to be one of my favorites. Always love the American Muscle V8 style when it comes to modified cars and cars in general. But this Hollowback, with the black hood and the black spoiler, this is definitely more movie accurate. This is actually the only car that doesn't have the CM6 wheels. Here's that compared to Slingshot. It has a different set of wheels. Luckily for comparisons, no images this time. I actually have the original Hollowback from 2005. And here are your comparisons. These are the CM5 wheels from 2005. And on side by side, this Hollowback has darker paint than the original Hollowback. Up front, you got headlight details. You got hood details right here. Then on the back of the car, we got actually trunk and spoiler details. No taillight details, however. Right here. Other than that, a little bit of history about the car in the movies. This car is driven by Metal Maniac leader Torque Maddox. He drove this car in all the movies. Meanwhile, most of the characters actually had to get their cars replaced due to crashes and all that. Torque crashed his car a couple times, but he's actually keep it until the fourth movie where he had to abandon it. Which we had to abandon it. Here's our next car on the list, and this one is actually the main villain of the ACCELERACERS series. We got Golorum, if I'm saying that correctly, in her RD09. Unbox it, put that out. This car is personally one of my top 3 favorites in the set because not just it has the more movie accurate decals. For example, right here it actually has some decals, but back in the 2005 car, it had nothing on here. But the engine details here and here, they look fantastic compared to the 2005 car. It looked a little bland, but that was 20 years ago, so they have to work what they have. So it was justified. But really, the retooled on this car is so satisfying. Unlike the other 3 cars, which have plastic body metal base or metal body plastic base, this car, and along with the next car, is actually metal on metal. This has a bit of a more premium feel compared to the other cars. So Galorum drove this car quite not too much, but she did in the final movie, doing one of the drivers, and spoiler if anyone's aware, spoiler if anyone has watched the movies, both of them crashed, even though she crossed the line, kind of crossed the line first. She kind of still lost. She kind of still lost. I'll explain when we get to the next car, and it will all make sense. But other than that, this is a very, very, very beautiful racing drone. Our final car from this set is a fan favorite, driven by a fan favorite character. The Reverb, driven by Vert Wheeler. Well, now it's called Revert. Due to licensing issues, Mattel lost the right to the name Reverb, so they renamed it to Revert, which I thought was kind of cool because it matches the character's name. But anyways, let's review this iconic car. I'll leave it on the turntable for a few minutes. Alright, now to the review. This car was a very much a fan favorite. It's a fan favorite. This car, the original 2005 car, was actually overpriced on eBay, so I'm happy this car got released 20 years later, and it has a lot more movie accuracy. For example, this engine cover, it was originally silver, but now it's orange, just like the movies. Same thing with the headlights. They were in the original 2005 diecast. It was silver like this, but it's now orange. Now orange compared to match with the windshields. And it has the CM6 wheels. CM6 wheels. Here it is compared to the older CM6 wheels. I'm using Synchro for reference, and as the other only 2005 ACCELERACERS I have. As you can see here, blue on the blue tire, like I said. Instead of dual molding and putting the tire together, it's actually painted on. And I just realized the axles right here, ends are actually not painted red, just like the original cars. Oh well. But anyways, other than that, you got a beautiful, beautiful blue paint job with the Teku decals, the number 7. Here's detailed tail lights, number 7. All right, some lore time with this car. So Vert had 2 cars before driving the Reverb in the final movie. He had the Dior 2, which was driven in World Race with the Wave Rippers livery, and he had a Teku Dior 2, which was released as an NFT and as a mainline. Here's the mainline real quick. Difference between the NFT and the mainline, the roof isn't painted. Other than that, it is pretty damn similar. Lost the Dior 2 in the Storm Realm like Kurt's slingshot. Well, kinda did, but anyways, then after losing Dior 2, Vert had Power Rage, which was another fan favorite car. Lost that in the water realm. Left and then left the Teku for a little while. Then came back, drove this car, and then faced Galorum in the RD09, and Vert actually won the race despite finishing behind her. I don't know why I gotta rewatch the fourth movie, but in the end, Vert was in the end, Vert ended up winning. So ended up winning the race because he had opportunity. Decided to race. He had a chance to race the Accelerons, which was like alien creatures with godlike powers. I don't know. The lore is a bit confusing, but once you watch all four movies, it'll make sense. So yeah, just to, but he left to go save his friends, and then that backfired. And then we eventually found out this Iridium right here, which I've got the listed driver, was actually driven by his fucking dad. I am not kidding. Iridium was driven by Vert's dad, aka Major Wheeler, I think his name is, but I don't know. But after that, the movie left on a cliff hangover, and was never to be finished again, which is absolutely insane. And that is it for our Hot Wheels ACCELERACERS Silver Series review. My favorite car out of all this, which was hard to pick, but Revert is my favorite car from this set. I think my least favorite one is probably Iridium, but anyways, Mattel did such an amazing job with this set. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.